Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for What's Up Doc, and with me today is my fellow Doc, Blue Genocide. Say hi!
I have to warn people, I do not have a PhD, but then again, Mario's been a doctor for 30 years, so it should be alright.
Yeah, I'd say so. A few bits of info to get underway here with this wonderful cartoon. So it's What's Up Doc, released on the 17th of June 1950. It's the 591st of the series, and it's directed by Bob McKibson. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Gold Collection Volume 1 DVD set, and also the Bugs Bunny 80th Blu-ray set. Sadly, on both editions, there's a lot of what's called DVNR, so digital video noise reduction. It's watchable, but it's a shame that for such an iconic cartoon, we have all these mistakes that were made in the restoration process. So hopefully they'll do it again. It'll be third time's the charm. And I know some people don't care about that, but honestly, they should take greater care. I mean, what do you think, Blue?
When I was just watching the cartoon for this video, I didn't notice anything like that, because when you're watching a cartoon, it's likely that, you may not notice something like that. But at the same time, these are pieces of history. Like, this cartoon is now reaching 72 years old. It is 72, actually, now that I think about the date. The thing about it is that if we're not doing the proper transfers of this media and proper restorations using the best possible materials, then we are just erasing parts of history, and I think that's really important to do proper restorations.
Exactly. Because in this specific case, you may not notice it, but once it's pointed out, which I'll be doing here in this review for sure, then you can't unnotice it. So, but it's still a funny cartoon regardless, and yeah, but hopefully they'll do it a third time.
Kind of sad. This is the second time they've done it, and both times they've messed it up.
Waters, if you're listening, do it again, please. So, but in case you haven't seen this cartoon, because, due to YouTube and copyright and all that, I can't show you the full cartoon here, but in case you're one of the few that hasn't seen it, it's basically Bugs recounting his early days, basically his origin story. So he's recounting his early days right up until he teamed up with Elmer Fudd and created cartoon history.
What's up, Doc?
In terms of trivia, there's actually quite a bit here. So, as per the animated draft, the working title of this short was Here's My Story. So, Blue, why would that title be better and probably not in the way people might think?
Well, a big problem with the Looney Tunes cartoon names that existed between, especially with Bugs, is that a lot of them are unrelated to the plot or barely loosely connected, if there is a connection. A lot of the Friz Freeling Bug shorts have a big problem with that, like Hair Splitter. What's Up Doc may sound like a great name, because it's like the origin story of Bugs Bunny. But the problem is that if you look up What's Up Doc Bugs Bunny, you're gonna get like a million different types of results. And I feel like if they went with the original planned name, we'd be able to find that a lot easier. And I mean, that's kind of like a minor inconvenience, I realize, but at the same time, it'd be an easier name to remember.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree. But, What's Up Doc, at least there's a reason for it in this cartoon, as we'll no doubt discuss as we get through this one.
I agree.
So this is the third short to show off Bugs' life story. So the first was The Old Grey Hair, where we had the flashbacks of Elmer and Bugs when they were younger. Then we had A Hair Grows in Manhattan, which was based off a comic story that was around that time, and also it ended up being sidetracked to a different story afterwards. But here, the entire short is focused on Bugs' origin story. Now, the song What's Up Doc was already an instrumental cue used in a few Bugs Bunny shorts, but here we see lyrics set to the instrumentals for the first time. And it's a great song, by the way. Such a catchy tune, and people can recognize it even today. Now, in the short, Bugs throws away a script for Life with Father, saying,
This will never be a hit.
But in actuality, it was a huge hit on Broadway, which had a very lengthy run. Now, young Bugs plays the Hungarian Rhapsody #2, which is the third time that we see Bugs associated with that music cue. So, of course, you had Rhapsody Rabbit, then he had a cameo in that movie with Doris Day, and now, of course, we see it here. This is the first McKibson direct Bugs short for a while that doesn't use the so-called plump Bugs design that was used for a few years. So McGibson would end up using this design until the studio closed in the early 60s. Now, some celebrities for you. So the celebrities we see Elmer walking past are Al Jolson, Jack Benny, Eddie Cantor, and Bing Crosby. And all of them were actually, in one way or another, associated with vaudeville, which is appropriate for this short. Now, the signs that we see in this short when it comes to Bugs's, I guess, early jobs that he had to do. So, The Girl of the Golden Vest appears to be a play of the theatrical play called The Girl of the Golden West, which was a melodrama, so makes the song even funnier when they play it in the clip. The Wearing of the Green appears to be based off of the Irish ballad The Wearing of the Green, and would actually be a short cut by Warner Brothers the following year. Now, Rosie's Cheeks, well, that's of course a play on Rosy Cheeks. I mean, come on, we gotta have a cheeky joke in there. Get it? Get it?
Ugh.
And Blue's like, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. Now, my good friend Mark Arnold, whom you'll be hearing in this track as well, because we did record separately with Camden Spees and Mark Arnold, but unfortunately, parts of the track were unusable. But he pointed out that the Moray's Dance Academy that we see in the beginning is a play of the Arthur Murray Dance School. And funnily enough, the only reason I know of it is because of the Flintstones' Arthur Quarry Dance School. But anyway, that's another thing entirely. So, Blue, what are your thoughts on this short, which is just about everyone's seen?
Okay, well, honestly, I grew up only having the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 1. I actually think I got the Spotlight Collection, the first volume of that, which, if you know your Looney Tunes, right, the Spotlight Collection was basically just a few discs of the Golden Collection, just slimmed down for a cheaper price. So I basically had the same set twice, almost. And I've seen this cartoon a lot because of that. And, there's a point at your age where you get kind of sick of the same cartoons over and over again, because I had seen it so many times as a kid that I kind of lost interest in it for a while. But honestly, it's a very fun cartoon. I don't have a whole lot of problems with it. I do find it kind of unfortunate now that Al Jolson is in this short as just a little cameo. When I was a kid, I had no idea what he was doing. I just thought he was calling Elmer mommy for some reason.
But we all know what it is now.
Yeah, now we know. Without the context and with the context, it makes me uncomfortable. So that's kind of fun.
Of course. Looking at this short, the disassociated press, I enjoyed that in the very beginning. You know the term Associated Press, but the way Bugs says disassociated press, I definitely got a kick out of that.
Start talking. It's your nickel. Who? Disassociated Press.
And, a few lines here and there, like, first I was born, which goes without saying.
Yeah, no, really. Where would you start the story then if you don't use, a mommy and a daddy loved each other very much?
It's sort of like that. I love the dancing that Bugs does in this short. I'm very much a huge fan of, that's one of the reasons why I love this short so much. I love the dancing that he does, which, okay, might be seen as repeated animation, but it's repeated for good reason, of course, when it's the same thing over and over again. But it's absolutely fantastic. But I want to ask you this question, though. How do you think Elmer knew Bugs before? Because he's like, Bugs Bunny, he's like, what are you doing here with these bums that they'll never make it anyway? Which, of course, we all know that they all do.
Well, see, the thing is, in the cartoon, it's a joke that Bugs has such small parts in these plays and stuff on vaudeville. But he still somehow is, a big enough star that people recognize him, and I think it's a bit of a double-ended joke there. And I think Elmer must just be a really big fan of when the curtain closes on a show. Maybe the shows were just really bad, and the only good part was Bugs' ending.
Maybe, I do love how the animation of Elmer Fudd just walking down and just brushing off all these nobodies that will never amount to anything, of course. Just that look at Elmer's face, because you don't typically see that kind of look in shorts that is featured in, but it's just another side of Elmer, and it just works so well. But he seems to treat Bugs like crap, though, because he doesn't even pay for Bugs to have a ride with him on the train. He's just putting the luggage with everything else.
Oh yeah, no, Elmer is kind of just mean. I kind of don't feel bad for him after all this abuse that Bugs has put him through in the last 10 years at the time of this cartoon, because literally the first time Bugs turns it around on Elmer for even a second, the actor already has a gun pulled out Not just any gun, not just like a pistol or anything. It's a full-on shotgun. He's ready to blow his head off at the first time that a co-star has the upper hand on him. And, you know, everybody will always say, oh, well, Bugs wasn't a graceful winner in cartoons like the Cecil Turtle trilogy and stuff. Well, Elmer's an even worse loser because the first time he gets antagonized, the shotgun comes out.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. It's like it's gone from 0 to 10 in a split second right there. And what would have happened had he actually shot Bugs then? Now, one of the debates I had with Mark Arnold and Camden Spees in the previous recording was the ending. Now, I think the ending is really, really weird. Like, I get that it's supposed to be a punchline where, you know, he's this big shot, he's telling his life story, and then at the end he's like, oh, I gotta go, I'm due on the set, but for some reason he's a chorus guy again. But I just don't see anything in this cartoon that makes that work. Like you see the establishing shot, it's a beautiful background shot, by the way, when they're zooming in. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. What do you think of the ending? Let's see if you side with me or not.
When I was a kid, I thought it was a cute little joke, but now as an adult, I realize, wait a minute, that's what Warner Brothers executives really thought Bugs Bunny was worth. Because if you think about it, like, after the theatrical age ended, there's multiple reports, and I really recommend listening to the Bugs Bunny Superstar commentary about this. The Warner execs at that time saw no value in the Looney Tunes characters outside of Saturday morning on TV. So I think this is just how they really thought of them.
Well, I'll look at it as, okay, so he's a big shot now, but why is he a chorus guy again? It just didn't click. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. But I really am curious to hear everyone's comments down below, and maybe my subscriber count will go backwards or something. I don't know. But whatever. Look, the short itself is fine, and the ending isn't bad. It just didn't, I guess, pack a wallop for me like it really should have. Now, unfortunately, there were some technical snafus when I first recorded this with my good friends Camden Spees and Mark Arnold, who are historians of animation. So I was able to salvage some of it, so here are the best of clips from that recording.
We're the Boys with Chorus. We hope you like our show. You know you're rooting for us, but now it's time to go. Okay.
All right, bye. See ya.
Okay, just kidding. Alright, so here are thoughts from Mark Arnold and Camden Spees.
I wanted to say one other thing about Life with Father. It also was a feature film in 1947, so it wasn't just a play. So it was very successful, unlike what Bugs thought. And at the very beginning of the film, where Bugs answers the phone and he says, "Go ahead, it's your nickel."
Start talking. It's your nickel.
Payphones were a nickel back then. They didn't get to be a dime till a few years later, and they were a dime for a very long time, and then quickly rose up, and then now, what's a payphone?
Yes, what is a payphone? The title of this short, of course, is What's Up, Doc? What can you tell us about What's Up, Doc?
I like this song a lot. If you look at Devin Baxter's cartoon research article about What's Up, Doc, there's a link on there of the Bugs Bunny and Storyland record, which shows something I've mentioned before in a commentary with you when we spoke about Beaky Buzzard. There is a very similar song. The record was written by Ted Pierce. The record basically was used as a vehicle, and it's like a very similar tune.
The song is sung by the Sportsman Quartet, and I was kind of doing a little research here. This is the final time that the Sportsman Quartet were vocalists on a Looney Tunes cartoon, after doing numerous previous cartoons going all the way back to Porky's Duck Hunt in 1937, of all things.
Later on, there'd be a movie, though, called What's Up, Doc.
Called What's Up, Doc, and I want to talk about this. The whole film was Peter
Bogdanovich.
Yeah, thank you. Was basically his whole attempt to attribute both Bringing Up Baby as well as Bugs Bunny cartoons. Actually, the ending of this cartoon for What's Up, Doc, not the ending of the We're the Boys with Chorus, but the ending of the film What's Up, Doc, has the song What's Up, Doc in it, and it plays an instrumental role in a romance between these two characters, right? And it's seen on a plane at the very end, and it's a very good movie. If you have not seen it, stop watching this commentary.
And of course, rest in peace, Peter Bogdanovich, who passed away not long ago, so...
It's a good movie, though. You've seen it, right, Anthony?
A long time ago. I might have to rewatch it. I think I'm due for it, so...
Mark, you've seen it, obviously.
Yeah, and I'll say a couple things about it. Obviously, it stars Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal, but it has a very young Madeline Kahn pre-Mel Brooks films and a very young Sorrel Book before being Boss Hogg on Dukes of Hazzard. So there's a lot of people that became famous later after this film. Well, this is supposed to be like the 10th anniversary of Bugs Bunny at this time, so I guess they had to kind of make up some sort of background origin story like they do with superhero movies nowadays. So because, there really wasn't an origin story, just bugs appeared, informative Bugs Bunnies that didn't look quite the same, When they're doing their little shtick where they're doing the jokes like Ohio and all that stuff and throwing pies in each other's faces. I don't know if they were specifically trying to design them to look like Abbott and Costello, but just because the outfit that Bugs is wearing especially, it looks like an outfit that Lou Costello wore in the Naughty 90s, which is also a vaudeville on stage type piece, so I'm sure it was just an homage to just vaudeville in general, but I always think Abbott Costello just because of the outfits they're wearing.
A lot of people like Chaplin, and they all had baggy clothes, and that's a clown trope. Yeah. Vaudeville used that trope as well.
Everything on vaudeville was kind of over the top, They always projected their voices and did extreme actions like Niagara Falls, if you know that sketch is a good example. It's like they're not going to do something quiet and subtle because they had a huge audience to entertain. So
also, you needed clothes that you could easily slide out of, right?
Right.
Yes, that's true. Yes, now that I think about it, yes, that's definitely right.
That's just the way actors got their start back then. You learned a shtick, either comedy, singing, acting, performing, whatever, and you just continued to perform it around country because there's no way to really capture it on film until Vitaphone ruined that and filmed everything.
And yes, the boys have a laugh at my expense over my thoughts on the ending.
I think it's funny, and I very much disagree.
I will say this, it's called irony, Anthony. Look it up. You know what's really funny, though, on this? They have the big build-up and everything, and you see Bugs doing the chorus line dancing at the end. But he has this huge scowl on his face, and he's just angry at that he's doing it. He's not happy anymore. He's like, this is as good as it's gotten for me in 10 years of being this character. If it makes me laugh, and I can tell you, the first time I saw What's Up Dog was probably sometime in the 1970s, and the ending just floored me. I just thought it was the funniest thing.
Yeah, I did too.
It's like funny. This build-up. He's getting more and more famous. He's doing greater things, and then he's back to where he started. It's like I just loved it. Anyway.
Okay. all right. Now, as an added bonus, Camden and I actually had a chat with Robin McKimson Jr. and with his permission, we filmed it. And this is the part about What's Up, Doc. So enjoy. What are your thoughts on What's Up, Doc? Is that one of your favorites?
Oh, absolutely. Because it had the caricatures of a lot of then stars. I hope I'm thinking of the right cartoon.
Yeah, there was a scene where Jack Benny's on there. And...
Yes. There were so many. I just wanted to make sure. Yes, and they had the caricatures of Jolson, Benny, and a lot of, quote, stars during that era.
Yeah.
And you grew up next to Jack Benny.
Yes, he lived... our house was on South Roxbury, and he lived on North Roxbury in Beverly Hills, probably 4 or 5 blocks apart.
Because with this cartoon, it's essentially like an origin story of sorts for Bugs, which I know Frizz did a cartoon a few years prior that's very similar in idea, but this one just goes all out in terms of an origin story for Bugs. Was that something that your father came up with, or was it just something that Warren Foster came up with?
It would have been a combination of the both of them, because when they were getting ready to do cartoons, Father would get together with the story man and toss around ideas. So it was a combination of both of them, I would say, that came up with the idea. But again, a lot of those characters were on the radio, and the radio was the big thing then. Television was just coming in. So I think in combination, taking a lot of those personalities in caricature and putting them in the cartoon was a very apt thing to do at that time.
Oh, for sure, because there's a scene with Elmer, he's looking very
Yeah.
uppity, which I love the animation of that scene, by the way.
Yeah.
Just it's such a different Elmer that we're normally used to. We see, of course, Al Jolson, Jack Benny, Eddie Cantor, and
Yeah.
Bing Crosby,
Yeah.
and
All former vaudeville stars too.
yeah. So it actually dates, I guess, this origin pretty well, having come out in 1950, and of course those stars were pretty big. Well, all right, they started to be popular in the 30s, and they were still popular in the 40s, I guess. But
especially Benny, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, of course, Jack Benny, yes. Whom, being an Aussie, I didn't even know who Jack Benny was until I watched the Looney Tunes, and then I went back and I looked them up on YouTube. I thought, oh, this is great stuff.
Yeah, he was very, very popular during that time. And don't forget, these cartoons were made a year before. So the cartoon would have been produced in 1949 because it took about 13 months from beginning to end to finish it. So, and then released in 1950.
Yeah, because I did notice a few cartoons, because as I mentioned to you before we recorded, I'm doing these in order, and sometimes you'll have a reference to a celebrity or an event that was already passé by the time the cartoon came out, which is just one of those things that happens, and it even happens today on The Simpsons and shows like that. But that song though, so it would have been what Warren Foster that would have come up with it. I think, Camden, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Most of the music was written by the writers. Gag ideas and all that were usually done either by directors also or jam sessions, but like, for example, like in What's Opera Doc, that was pure Maltese.
Of course, yeah.
By the way, if you ever watch the movie What's Up Doc, they movie What's Up Doc, the live action movie, they play that song a lot.
Yeah.
I just happened to have watched it a few months ago.
Yeah, I've got to rewatch that. It's been a while since I've seen that. With the rating, I'll give this one 9.5. And the only reason I'm not giving it 10 is because of that. The ending just didn't really stick for me. But everything else about it is fantastic. I love the callbacks to vaudeville. I love, of course, Bugs narrating his story. I get a kick out of that. The gags are funny. And yeah, it's a top-notch cartoon, and one that any Bugs Bunny fan should have watched at least once.
I would give this a 10.
I would too, actually.
I know I've seen it 1.5 million times. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I was going to say 9 out of 10, but then I remember that you're right. This is the first cartoon in a while where McKimson stopped using that plumper Bugs design. And honestly, that alone is enough for the rating up. So I'll give it 9.5 out of 10 too.
Wow, you don't like the plumper Bugs? I thought you did.
No.
You don't? Oh, man. Controversy on the channel, folks. Controversy. That will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
Oh, we're the boys the chorus. We hope you like our show. We know you're rooting for us, but now we have to go.